Okay, so here we go. I'm with Sally Ann Tanasi tonight. She is the writer of this book, which is called A Very Special Summer and the Ripple Effect, Reflections on the 1995 Special Olympics World Games. Sally Ann, go ahead.
Hi, I wrote this book at the request of my friends because I kept telling the same stories over and over about the World Games that occurred in New Haven in 1995. And they just said, why don't you just write a book? So I did. I have a little background on me as to why I'm interested in people with special needs. My uncle had autism. I kind of diagnosed him because in those days there was no autism. Then he was a very special part of my life. And because of him, I went into special education and I started in the East Hartford Parks program for the special needs people. And I loved it. And then I got involved in East Hartford Special Olympics. And that was back in the early 70s, but I'm only 16, so just don't add those times. I got involved and I have stayed involved. I currently do a winter games in East Hartford for floor hockey, and that's a story in and of itself. It's in the book. And I also do summer games. I'm on the summer games committee for volunteers. So I would like to tell you about one particular athlete, Matthias, and I'd like to read a little bit about him, if you'll give me the time.
Please.
Yeah,
please.
Chapter 8, this whole chapter is Matthias. And he shall send his angels to watch over you. Matthias, angel athlete. I first met Matthias von Renzel as a name on the athletes roster of the Argentinian athletes targeted to come to East Hartford instead of Windsor. We co-chaired with Windsor because it was such a large delegation. We had split the delegation according to what facilities each town had. And Windsor had the equestrian facilities, so they got the equestrians. And we had good gymnasium facility and soccer field. So we got the gymnastics and soccer, football teams. Little did I know that day that he and his wonderful family would become such an integral part of my life and heart. Just thinking about him, how physically far away we are, almost brings me to tears. I just adore him that much. Matthias has Down syndrome. Words cannot adequately describe Matthias. He needs to be experienced. I will try to do him justice. There is an ethereal quality that surrounds him. It's as if he's a very old soul. When you look into his eyes, you find such peace and understanding there. It's as if he can read your doubts and fears. There's no need to worry. It will all work out. I'd like to think that Jesus's eyes would have that same peace and understanding too. And that's part of chapter 8.
Chapter 8. And
Yep.
This is such a small little book, but it's just jam-packed with these stories.
Mm-hmm.
And you've been doing the Special Olympics, you've been involved since the 70s.
Early 70s.
When did the
Yes.
Special Olympics actually begin?
1968 at Eunice Kennedy Smith's, Eunice Kennedy
Shriver.
Okay,
Yeah.
I can't believe I forgot that. At her backyard. And then it went to an arena and it just got bigger and bigger and it grew to be all over the world. We had something like 169 countries come to New Haven.
Wow. Now, was
And
that 1995? Was that the last time that the Special Olympics? No.
Then there was World Games again in 1999 where they did the host town program again. but it wasn't the same. I went and I volunteered to translate for Argentina again, hoping that I'd see some of the same people. But it's such a large country, they give everybody a chance to do it. And not all the same coaches come, and so it's a little different. But in 1995, there was the Host Town program, was initiated by the president of Special Olympics Connecticut, Bo Dougherty. He's a wonderful man and so innovative. He also innovated unified sports where athletes and regular teenagers work together and team together and play a sport. And now that's all over the world from Bo's efforts. It's
Wow.
phenomenal. Yeah, he's a phenomenal man, but he's retiring and I'm so sad. But I find that there is so much to Special Olympics. It's not just athletes playing a game, and they are athletes. We do not call them children. We do not call them kids. They are athletes because some of them, you should see the things that they can do. And some of them can do just a little, so they do skills. But everybody gets to participate, everyone gets a chance, and parents get to be proud of their children doing sports, just like everyone else. And they love just like everyone else. And Matthias also was a very loving soul. I took them home because I realized that I was going to be down in New Haven longer than a couple of days. I had just gone down to opening ceremonies. I thought the 4 days in East Hartford are done and I'm going to be all set. Well, they pulled me down on the Yale football field and said, "We have a room for you, come and translate." So that's what I did for 12 days. So I only had a few clothes clean. So I had to go home, wash clothes. So I took the team home, Matthias's team. And he was a gymnastics member. So I took them on my boat, and Matthias had the best time on the boat. And I let him drive, and he just pushed the throttle forward and didn't realize that it was going to really zoom. And he just was so shocked, but it was one of the funniest memories I have of the games, of him and his great personality.
It sounds, no, was he Argentinian, Matthias?
Yes.
And
Matthias von Renzel.
So you translate Spanish to English?
Yes.
And you worked the whole Olympic?
The whole 12 days. And I went to the airport to pick them up for the 4 days in East Hartford. I also drove them in the bus. I went on the bus to the Kennedy to send them home, and cried like a baby. And we watched another person that was a volunteer, and I sat and cried as they left, because you never know if you're ever going to see them again, and you've become like family. And that's the thing with Special Olympics. It's a family. It's
wonderful. So important. My cousin's daughter was involved in the Special Olympics in Connecticut, and she had so many great experiences. It made her, it really gave her a chance to blossom.
Yes.
You know,
one of my favorite East Hartford athletes, just recently passed away. And on her casket, they had all of her medals, tons and tons of medals. Her family was part of the Host Town program. They hosted Matthias's group. And it was so amazing to see all those medals. And the sister worked at the Parks program with me. So we've known each other since the 70s. And she was just a kid, and we were a little bit older, and we've remained friends through the years. And they gave me one of her medals, and I have it proudly. And we all wore them to the wake and to the funeral. And it was such a touching touching thing. I will never forget Mary Fournier and her big smile.
That's lovely. And they do such great work. They're so, I mean, it is really hard. I could never compete in,
Well, you
they
should see
really work.
Matthias's body. I mean, he is so well formed. I mean, he just is so, he has muscles everywhere, but
He's an
he
athlete.
does the gymnastics, you know, he does the rings, he does the floor exercise, he does everything. So, you know,
Yeah.
you have to be in shape.
Yeah,
But
it's really an amazing kind of thing when you watch it, and it's very entertaining too.
very,
They're
very, I
really,
mean, I would love people to come down to floor hockey next. It's usually March or the late February that we have it right at Pratt and Whitney. And
whereabouts at Pratt and Whitney do you?
in the museum,
Oh,
in the museum.
great.
And it's
Now,
wonderful.
these books, you're selling these books, and all the proceeds, 100% of the proceeds goes to Special Olympics. Is that right?
Yes. Yes, it does, except for $1.26 that goes to the state of Connecticut. I have to charge tax. So it's 21.26.
And the
And
126 is the tax.
right. And $20 goes to Special Olympics, and I've put in over $1,000 already. So,
Wow.
yeah, yeah. Oh, it's probably closer to 1,500 or more. And I still have more in the bank waiting to make a big check. I like to do big checks to them.
That's exciting. And so where can people buy these?
Well, you can contact me on my oh boy, 6854 angeleyes@gmail.com, and just leave your name, your address, and I will send you my address so that you can send me a check, and I will send you a book, or you could pick it up.
So
They are going to be sold at the library.
Okay, 6854
6854
Angel
Angel
Eyes
Eyes. That's my Gmail account.
at gmail.com. I'm putting that in the chat so that people can see
Thank you.
yeah, what that looks like. So but they should contact you via email, and you can sell them the book. You can get them.
I'm an East Hartford resident, so, you know, if somebody's from East Hartford, I'm hoping some of the host families will get a chance to get the book, because they were an integral part of the host town program. And they actually took athletes, the whole team, and their coach into their homes for 4 days. And they were unbelievable.
And that was with 169 countries, towns.
Yeah, countries, I'm sorry, 169 towns and around 160 countries. We had, Glastonbury had Ireland, and each town had a different country.
Oh, that's so cool. What did East Hartford have?
Argentina.
Argentina? Oh, okay.
Argentina.
How
That's
cool.
why I went to Argentina and lived there for a month. And then I went back the following year, and I was also in a wedding from one of the coaches and the host family son.
What made you go to Argentina for a month? I mean,
well, because I was only going to go for 2 weeks, and they kept saying, we've got this, you've got to do this, you've got to do this, you have to go to this person's house and that person's house and stay over. And I was staying with one of the coaches, and I stayed with different coaches, and my base was with one particular coach, and I would spend the days with Matthias's family. Oh, that's how I got so involved with him. And his father used to take me around, and we'd go get the bread and have fresh bread every day. And Maria, his mother, made me empanadas for the going away party, which was very difficult. And we just had so much fun. And parents of athletes that I didn't even know them, because they were not, I knew the manifests from both towns, because we had to coordinate our meetings together. So I was wondering who these athletes were. And they finally told me, oh, they just heard what you did and they want you to stay at their homes. And I went to the most poorest house and I went to the richest people and got signed artwork, and they couldn't do enough for me. And I went to Matthias's aunt's house, and she was the an equestrian who owned breeding horses that were the most famous in Argentina. And she was written up in books and everything. So yeah.
That sounds
pretty
like a once in a lifetime experience.
It was phenomenal. It was the best thing I ever did in my life. Nothing will ever top it.
I can believe it. Was this in Buenos Aires or all over really? Right.
Basically Buenos Aires, and then the two families were in Moreno, which is just outside of Buenos Aires. It's about a half-hour drive. And they showed me the museum where Walt Disney came and understood how to do Mickey Mouse. And it was in that museum. So it was pretty interesting. And I remember I had one of the best meals of my life at the poorest house. She took a piece of meat, went outside, got lemons off of her tree and tenderized it with lemons. And it was the most delicious meal. I was never so cold because their seasons are opposite of ours. So when I went, it was winter because I was teaching, so I had to go in the summer. And I was never so cold as I was in that house, but I was never so warm of the heart as I was in that house.
Cold in temperature and warm with soul.
Absolutely, absolutely. And it was funny because I went to a floor hockey tournament, and I'm not athletic, so I knew nothing about floor hockey. So I'm seeing them use these straight sticks, and I'm thinking they're using broomsticks, these poor people, because we were making sandwiches and we'd put a slice of bread and a slice of ham and a slice of cheese and a slice of bread, and that's what they got, it with a fruit. And we're so used to having McDonald's and all these other companies support us, and Bazzuto's and all these companies give us food. So we have great food. And these poor people were taking out of their pocket to do it. And I was on television. I was interviewed as to why I was there. I was given an award in Spanish. And it was for all that I did with the athletes, which means so much to me. It's in my office.
Excellent. Now are you retired already from?
Yes, I retired 11 years ago to take care of my dad.
And you were a special education teacher here in East Hartford, or?
Oh, up in Enfield for 34 years.
Wow. Wow. So you did recognize all of these different kinds of abilities and other abilities.
I was very familiar with people with different abilities.
Thank you so much. This is so great. Again, a very special summer and the ripple effect. Yes, because it does resonate, doesn't it, with us?
It does. And all the things that have happened to me since doing the games. I've done all sorts of things, and it's all in the book. And that's it.
Thank you so much for
having me.
This is lovely. And I hope you sell a lot so we can have more Special Olympics in Connecticut.
Going right for the athletes.
When is the next Special Olympics and where is it going to be?
It's going to be at Fairfield University. The next big one is at Fairfield University and a couple of other sites. And it's, I believe, the first weekend of June, the 3rd, 4th, I'm not sure of the actual dates. I think it's 5, 6, and 7 or something like that, or 5 and 6. Yes, every year they have it. They have a winter games and they have a summer games every year. And you can go on the SOCT website, and that's the Special Olympics Connecticut website. And you just click on activities and events, and you will see, where there might be a qualifier that you could go see, or a bowling tournament, or just different things.
Oh, excellent. And do they charge tickets? Ticket
No,
price?
no, but we take donations. But
Excellent.
no, it's just a free, fun time. And then Saturday night is the dance, and everyone gets all cheeked up, and they love that dance. And
That's great.
it's so much fun. It's a lot of fun.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
You be well.